Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today is Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, I do my Q&A videos and basically answer your questions. I'm going to be doing this a little weird because I have a teleprompter, well, kind of. I have my computer in the background with the questions. I'm hoping this works. Hopefully, it does. And the very first question comes from Brian Combe. He wrote, what are your top 10 greatest finds, deals on comics? Love the content. Keep up the good work. So Brian Combe, I'm going to show you actually 3 kind of collections that I bought, that were really just amazing. So the first one, it's like a bunch of books. So it's not 10 necessarily, but it's a bunch. I'm going to show a bunch, and I'm going to explain why these were such great deals, how I got them, and so forth. So the first one was Harim's auctions on Instagram. So I've been getting more and more involved with Instagram. I have now about almost just under 700 followers on Instagram, and I'm posting out regularly on Instagram, where I post out latest things that I buy, some of my old stuff as well, but and really getting into individual books and saying why they're great books and all this kind of stuff. So when you're on Instagram, there's people that do these live claim sales. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll check out some. One of the ones I checked out was called Harim's Collectibles, I believe it is. And he just happened to have kind of a Grail book really, really cheaply. and it's actually one I kind of think is a bit funny, but I bought it just because it's kind of cool to have a Grail book at this price. So this is 150 bucks. So he wanted originally 200. I offered like 150, and he was like, at the end, I kind of wore him down and kept on offering the same amount, and he eventually agreed. But it is in really bad shape. It is a PEP #1. So this is, actually, I paid 175. I'm mistaken on that. But this is such a funny book. So this is missing the cover, missing a few of the panels. It's just like, it is in rough shape. It is like a 0.3 grade, but it's a PEP 1. It's kind of cool to have the first PEP comics. And, PEP is this comic series that was the one that had the first Richie Rich in PEP 22. So it's just kind of cool to have the very first PEP comics in a very low grade. I'm going to get like a facsimile cover and, put it on top, and then, it'll look like something. So that one I thought was kind of fun. The next one is, I have to thank Jerry the Jitterbug. He basically, through his channel, somebody had reached out to him with a bunch of low-grade, Golden Age, cartoon-related books. And they had a whole collection. And I think they must have paid very little for them, because they were really willing to negotiate. And Jerry said, hey, Comic Collector Geek might be interested in your stuff. So I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. So he introduced us, and I bought a ton of stuff. I spent $1,500. I probably bought like $10,000 worth of books for $1,500. It was just such a great deal. He had Looney Tunes #1. Just, that's a pretty big book. He had a whole bunch of, Carl Barks stuff. So this is Donald Duck and Frozen Gold. Just a great book. Donald Duck, No Such Varmint. And he had a lot of Disney stuff, because what it was, I think it was like a lawyer's office, and they had a stack of books related to, kids, so the kids waiting in the waiting room would have books to read. So it's just like a bunch of Disney stuff. So Bambi, first appearance of Bambi. I think this is 4-color #12, really early stuff. They had the first appearance of the Reluctant Dragon. Actually, I have 2 copies of this, so I might sell this one. And then, some really great Disney stuff. This is a great one too. And this is the first original story with Chip and Dale. Original story. There's actually an earlier appearance, which I also got. But this is the first story with Chip and Dale. Unique story to comics. And then just some really great ones. Just like, you know, this is a really great one. And, you know, some of these are like keys on their own, like, you know. And, you know, just some really great ones. And, you know, he actually threw, like, I'll show you how good of a deal it was. He threw in this book, which is, I think this is the first Carl Barks cover, you know, our first artwork in Disney. So, like, this is just a major grail, like, for, you know, I've seen this, like, where they just sold the front cover for $300. Like, just the front cover. This is like a complete book, you know, it's not a high grade or anything, but it is a complete book. Usually goes for about $1,000. So kind of a cool book to get. You know, and just so many cool things. So that was a really great one. I'll show one more that was really great. This is Walt Disney Comics and Stories number 3. Isn't that great? Donald Duck cover. And if you're going to have number 3, you've got to have number 1. So they also had number 1 in the collection. It's just like such a great collection. Okay, so that was that one. I bought a ton of stuff from him. And another collection that was on eBay that I thought was just a really phenomenal one. And I didn't win everything from it. I kind of wish I had. But they had a run of Sensation comics that they sold. But they sold it in lots of 3. So I won 2 of the lots. Like, it was just crazy prices. But I won 6, 7, and 8. 6, 7, 8. And it was $3,000. Now, just number 6, which is this one, is like a $5,000 book. You know, it's like, so to win it at 3 and then get the other 2 books, which are each about $1,000 each, is pretty great. This one does have some, you know, it has some dust shadow, but just a great book. This is the first appearance of Wonder Woman's magic lasso, or lasso, whatever way you want to pronounce it. So yeah, just a really great book. It's also the first appearance of her super pet, which is Kanga. Like, so that's just kind of cool, you know, double key if you want to go that way. Just a great book. And it's a bondage cover. It's like, not girl bondage, but it is a bondage cover, which, you know, I think is cool too. So, you know, those were some, like, 3 really great finds that I've experienced. And I really thank this channel, my channel, and the community that I've engaged because of this channel. Like, I met so many really wonderful people that have sort of, you know, connected me and recommended, like the Harim's auction. I wouldn't have gone to that unless somebody in the community somebody told me about it and was like, oh yeah, you got to go to this. They have this book that you're looking for. So I was like, okay, I'll go there. They actually had in the same auction, and I didn't win it. They had a Phantom Lady number 17, which a book that I've been looking for, but never seemed to be able to get. And, you know, it was really fun. So, yeah, that's one of the great things about this community. I love this community. You guys are great. So next question is from Brian Smith. Have you never seen, I've never, oh, wow. I'm reading this from a computer, just so you know, and it's like just slightly out of range. Like, so I'm trying to read it. Okay, so let's try this again. Have never seen you mention Hitler covers. What are your favorites, and do you have any? Mine are Marvel Mystery 46, which is an amazing cover. Actually, that is my favorite Marvel Mystery comic, number 46. It is the one where you got Hitler with this like tiny little body and huge head. And it's like a bondage cover. It's like, you know, torture cover. It's just a great cover. Alex Schomburg cover. And then there's Thrilling 41 that he also mentions, which has this crazy bed scene where the quilt on the bed is like all like swastikas. Just a really great cover. And Wonder 1. Though I doubt I will ever own even one of those. So those are all big books. Those are like ones that are kind of grail for the Hitler collectors. Now, I was told by somebody, I just did a live stream on Night Tiger's channel on the weekend. And another guy that was on the channel on the live stream was Man Cave. And Man Cave, I guess, is a big collector of Hitler covers from the Golden Age. And he was saying that there's 101 Hitler covers from the Golden Age. And those would be 3 of the big ones. And, but, you know, I'm going to show you some of what I have in my collection. I don't have a big Hitler collection. I do have maybe about 20, 30 books that feature Hitler. I'm going to show you a few of them. And I'll show you some of the ones. And one of the ones I have is one that Man Cave said that he's been looking for. And it's this one right here. Master Comics number 13. And you got Hitler right at the bottom there getting kind of punched. Like, so yeah, just really great Hitler cover. But this is, the reason I picked it up was not because it's a Hitler cover. This is the first appearance of Bullet Girl. And I like Bullet Girl. So I like my B superheroes, you know, and especially female superheroes from the Golden Age. So I really like Bullet Girl. So I wanted to get her first appearance, and this is her first appearance. I believe the art was done by Mac Raboy. So really cool book. And then we got another really great one. And this is Super Duck #1. This is the first appearance of Super Duck. So again, I'm not buying these necessarily because it's a Hitler cover, but it just happens to be a Hitler cover. And I really like this one. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can without it reflecting. Because it's like, I like these propaganda covers where it's targeted towards kids. I think that's really interesting. So they've got, you know, Super Duck, and he's squeezing... you know, both Hitler and, what's his name? Hirohito, or, you know, the Japanese guy. So I think that's really cool. And it's like that typical, you know, very, very stereotyped, Japanese look. So I think that's really cool. Super Duck #1, really great Hitler cover. And this is a modern one. And not many people realize that this is a Hitler cover, but it is one of my favorite covers, and it just happens to have Hitler on it. So it is Wonder Woman 184. And if you look at the bottom there, right there, I'm trying to zoom in on Hitler. That's Hitler, okay? But it's just a great Wonder Woman cover, where you got the classic Golden Age Wonder Woman and the modern Wonder Woman meeting. And it's an Adam Hughes cover. I just love this book. And I was happy to get it in a really high grade. So, you know, this is just a really wonderful book. One of my favorite Wonder Woman covers from Adam Hughes. Okay, so the next book is another one. This is like kind of a grail book again for me. It is a book from the 70s. And it actually is from my birth year. So this is not only a cool book because it's a cool book, but it's on my birth year, so even extra special. So this is from 1973. This is Hensi, the Girl That Loved the Swastika. I think this is such a great book. I love this book. And you got all the, you know, the swastikas, and you got this cheerful, happy-go-lucky girl on the cover, just pure innocence, naivete, you know, just a great cover. But you got Hitler right in the background there, and he's like doing the parade, you know, where he's like, and she's like one of the people cheering him on. And it's just such a great book. Highly recommend people read this book, because it really shows you the evils of socialism and, you know, the whole Nazi movement. So just a really great book. Really love that one. So those are some of my Hitler ones. I actually have more. There were some in Wonder Woman, and there's a lot more in my collection, but digging them all out was a bit of a challenge. These are the ones that I could easily pull. But yeah, I love those books. So that's some of my Hitler ones. I was actually planning on doing a cover challenge with Hitler books. I actually did Nazi instead of Hitler, just to, you know, make it a little bit easier than just specifically Hitler. But you can check that out if you search for Comic Friday cover challenge, okay, or comic challenge, and you can see those past videos where I show some really great Nazi related covers. Okay, next question comes from James P, and he wrote, "Love the channel and the collection. Where are all your Mac Raboys? He is the GOAT. Love his Master Comics run. Master Comics number 34 may be one of his greatest covers of all time." Yes, so I have a few Mac Raboys in my collection, not many, not many, because his work kind of were in a lot of titles that I didn't really collect, like I don't have big collections from, I should say. So he did a lot of Captain Marvel Jr., and I just don't have that many Captain Marvel Juniors in my collection, but I do have some, and I do have some stuff of his. One that you might not be aware of is a Mac Raboy, but it is. So Mac Raboy, he was born in 1914, he died in 1967, and he was a very prolific artist. He has sort of his own style, and once you start seeing it more and more, you recognize it. I didn't know who Mac Raboy was. I feel really dumb because he's sort of a popular artist from the Golden Age, and I really just learned about him very recently, within the last few weeks, maybe month. But you know, once you start seeing his style, you get it. And he did a lot of Hitler covers, so kind of related to what we were talking about before, like that it's, you know, he did all these really great Hitler covers, and I just didn't know it was him. I you know, I plead ignorance on that, but I'm going to show you some covers that he did do that are in my collection, and this is one of them that most people don't realize is a Mac Raboy, but it is. This is Ibis the Invincible. It's just a really great cover. I like these magic covers. I like magic. So I always wanted to be a magician, actually, as a kid. Yeah, so yeah, Mac Raboy. So that's one. And he, as I said, he did do a lot of stuff with Captain Marvel Jr., but he also did another collection of comics called Bullet Man. And he was also involved with this collection, which is America's Greatest Comics. And this sort of collects all of them. You can see like Shazam or Captain Marvel, and Bullet Man, and I forget what his name is. Yeah, just like Spy Smasher and all those kind of guys. So just really great, you know, great book from the Golden Age. This is the first appearance of Steamboat. And he did, like, I think he did the first 3 or 4 issues of this series. So pretty cool. And as I said, he did do Bullet Man. And I just happened to have one of the issues. He did most of the early issues, which I don't have. But he did do this one. Bullet Man number... This was like a reprint of Bullet Man number 3. But it's like this mini comic. Actually, I picked this up really cheaply. Even though it's like high grade and not a very expensive comic. I guess they must have mass printed this or something. But it is just kind of a cool one. And that gives you a sense of his artwork. I do like his artwork. And some of his Hitler-related covers are just really phenomenal. He really does get the feeling of the characters. There's one where it's like, I think it's a Masters comic, actually, where it's like a Captain Marvel Jr. on one side of the page and then Hitler on the other. And it looks like Hitler's kind of like sad and depressed. I think that's just really great. And one of his great covers with Hitler is the one where he's whipping them, like Tojo and Hitler, and he's whipping them. You know, it's just one of those phenomenal covers. So that's my Mac Raboy collection. Not much. I don't have a big Mac Raboy collection. Believe it or not, though, I actually, strangely, before even knowing about these questions or anything, I had actually ordered a bunch of books that are Mac Raboy covers. So they'll be coming in future unboxings. So you can just watch the channel and you will see some Mac Raboy in future unboxings. So it wasn't intentional. I wasn't actually hunting for his artwork, but some of the books just happened to be ones that has his art. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, next question, and the last question actually, is from Mike Swintel. And he wrote, if your wife does not want to come onto your channel, could you ask her just to come into your room off camera and maybe pick out 2 or 3 comic book covers that she likes and finds interesting or has the best art in her opinion. Then could you show us what she picked out? And could you tell her a subscriber asked for her opinion on this? Haha. So good luck, and that's my question. Would ask for her to just pick a few covers out. Okay, so I actually brought my wife earlier into this comic room and she's like looking around and she's like and nodding, and she doesn't get into she doesn't really get the comics. It's not her thing. But she did pick out a few books that she liked, and I'm going to show you the ones that she liked. It was interesting. Like I was like, oh, she should pick this one or something. I really try to not bias her opinion. So I didn't like say, oh, this was a really good one, or, you know, I didn't do anything like that. I said, look around. What do you like? What books catch your eye? And she's like, oh, nothing. You don't really have anything really great. She's like, so painful. But she did pick out a couple books, and I was actually surprised by her choices. Really surprised by her choices. The very first book she picked out, was this one, Tip Top. And actually, I was surprised because it's not like in a position in the room where it's really obvious. It doesn't stand out. It's sort of on the top shelf, and I was surprised that she picked it out. This is the first appearance of the Peanuts, and she just thought the cover was cute. So that's, you know, that's how she goes. So I said, oh, you picked a good one, but your reasoning's a little weird. But yeah, so she picked this one. So that's Tip Top Comics number 173. And the other one she picked out, I was kind of surprised by it, was this one. She said, oh, it's kind of cool that it has all these Batman on it. I thought that was interesting. So this is Detective Comics 225, and this is the first appearance of Martian Manhunter. So she did pick out some pretty big books. And the other one that she picked out was Conan the Barbarian. Okay, so I have it up there on the wall. She picked out Conan the Barbarian number 1. And her reasoning was hilarious. So she said, the reason I chose Conan the Barbarian was she likes Sheena. I'm like, well, you know that, no, it's not Sheena. She likes She-Ra, you know. I'm like, you know that Conan and She-Ra are not connected at all. They're not related at all, but they're barbarian-like. So, so I said, you know, She-Ra came with He-Man. But yeah, so that's her comic knowledge to give you a sense. But I guess she's Korean, so in Korea, I guess She-Ra was popular when she was a kid. So she liked both He-Man and She-Ra, and she thought Conan the Barbarian's close enough to her. So yeah, so that was my wife's opinion about comics. Not really the greatest. And yeah, it was kind of fun. It was interesting. She actually, I have to give her some credit though. Even though she was not super interested in comics, she did spend a fair amount of time looking through all the comics. She actually went thoroughly through and hated everything, but she at least spent the time to at least look at the books and say, oh, those are, you know, nothing really interesting to her, but you know, but she picked those 3. So that was my wife's feedback about the comics. So I hope you enjoyed these answers to your questions, and if you have a question that you want answered, put it in the comments below and I will answer it next week. So And, you know, any question, you can have some fun. Ask me whatever you like. I enjoy answering these questions. I find it fun because it gets me kind of going through my own collection and kind of fun finding stuff and discovering stuff in my collection. And I learn things from it as well. So thank you again for your questions. And that is it for today. Please check me out on Instagram and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.